Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I didn't expect that night to change anything. I really didn't. It started like one of those awkward, ordinary evenings that feel temporary. Like a page you'll forget you ever read. Rain tapping against the windows, the city humming outside, my apartment lit by a single lamp that made everything look softer than it really was. I'd just finished a long day, shoes kicked off, shirt half unbuttoned, when she stood there in my living room with that half smile that always made it hard to tell whether she was joking or serious. We'd known each other for a while, not close, but enough history to feel comfortable and cautious at the same time. The kind of connection where you talk about everything except the thing that's actually hanging in the air between you. She'd come over because her place was being renovated, or at least that's what she said. One night, she promised, just one night. A couch, a blanket, no drama. She glanced around, eyes landing everywhere except on me, then finally asked it, calm voice, casual tone, where can I undress? I froze for half a second longer than I should have, not because of what she said, but because of how she said it, like it wasn't a big deal, like she was asking where the bathroom was. I cleared my throat and nodded toward the hallway. Behind that door, I said, pointing to my bedroom. You can change there. She smiled, thanked me, and disappeared down the hall. The door closed softly. The apartment suddenly felt smaller, quieter, like the walls were leaning in to listen. I told myself not to overthink it. She was just changing. That's it. People do that all the time. Normal, completely normal. I sat on the couch, staring at nothing, trying to focus on the TV without actually hearing a word. My thoughts were a mess, jumping between memories and what-ifs I didn't want to name. I reminded myself of boundaries, of how this was just a favor, just a place to sleep. Then the door opened. I looked up without thinking, and my brain just stalled. She stepped out slowly, barefoot, hair a little messy, wearing my shirt, not hers, mine, the one I'd tossed on the chair earlier. It hung loose on her, sleeves rolled once, collar slightly open. She wasn't trying to be dramatic, but somehow it felt like the room shifted anyway. Oh, she said lightly, noticing my expression. I hope you don't mind. It was the first thing I saw. That word didn't even register. I nodded like an idiot, forcing my face back into something neutral. Yeah, that's fine. She walked past me like it was nothing, sat on the other end of the couch, pulling her legs up under her. The shirt brushed against her knees, familiar fabric in a completely unfamiliar context. I suddenly felt very aware of my hands, my posture, the space between us that felt both too wide and not wide enough. We tried to act normal. That was the funniest part. We talked about random stuff, work, some show she was watching, a trip she wanted to take someday. But every now and then, I'd catch her glancing at me, or she'd catch me looking at the shirt like it had betrayed me. You're being quiet, she said, eventually. Just tired, I lied. She studied me for a second, then smiled, softer this time. You know, you don't have to be weird about it. I laughed, a short, breathy sound. I'm not being weird. She raised an eyebrow. You are. We both laughed then, the tension cracking just enough to breathe again. But it didn't go away. It just changed shape. The rain outside got heavier, thunder rolling somewhere far off. The TV droned on, forgotten. At some point, she leaned back against the couch, head resting near my shoulder, not touching, just close enough that I could smell her shampoo, feel the warmth she brought with her. I stayed still, afraid that moving would mean choosing something I wasn't ready to choose. Do you ever think, she said quietly, about how some moments don't feel important until later? I swallowed. All the time, she nodded, like that answer mattered. We sat there like that for a while, sharing silence that felt heavier than words. I realized then that this wasn't about the shirt, or the door, or the question she'd asked. It was about everything we hadn't said over the years. Everything we'd tiptoed around because it was easier to pretend it wasn't there. Eventually, the rain eased. The clock on the wall ticked louder than before. She yawned, stretching a little, the shirt riding up just enough that I forced myself to look away. I should probably sleep, she said. Yeah, I replied. The couch is already set. She stood, hesitated, then shook her head. Actually, can I take the bed? Only for tonight. My back's been killing me. Of course, I said quickly. I'll take the couch. She smiled, relief mixed with something else I couldn't name. Thanks. She turned to head back down the hall, then paused. Hey, she said without looking back. Thanks for being you. The door closed again, softer than before. I lay on the couch staring at the ceiling, sleep refusing to come. My mind replayed the evening in fragments, the way she said, undress, the way she wore my shirt like it belonged to her, the weight of her words about moments. I wondered if this was one of those moments she meant. Sometime in the middle of the night, I heard her door open. I didn't move, pretending to be asleep. She stood there for a second, I could tell. Then a blanket settled gently over me. Her hand brushed my arm, just for a heartbeat, before she stepped back. The next morning, sunlight crept in through the blinds, painting the room in gold. I sat up slowly, half expecting everything to feel awkward. But when she came out, dressed in her own clothes, again, hair tied back, she looked normal, comfortable, like she belonged there. Morning, she said. Morning. We shared coffee, joked about the weather, talked like nothing monumental had happened. And yet, everything felt different. Charged. Like we were standing at the edge of something, deciding whether to step forward or turn away. Before she left, she paused by the door, keys in hand. "About last night," she began. "Yeah." She smiled that same half smile. "I don't regret it." "Me neither," I said honestly. She nodded, satisfied, and opened the door. "See you soon." "Yeah," I replied. Soon, when the door closed behind her, I stood there for a long moment. The apartment quiet again. The shirt still lay on the chair where she'd found it. I picked it up, feeling the faint warmth she'd left behind, and smiled to myself. Some moments don't feel important until later, but some, you know right away.